Welcome back to CryptoLawTV. I'm John Deaton, your host and the founder of CryptoLaw. Today's topic, Joseph Grundfest. Who is he and why is he important to this case? Joseph Grundfest is, or was, I should say, a former SEC commissioner. He was a Republican appointed by Ronald Reagan. You know, the politics isn't so much important, except that Jay Clayton is a fellow Republican SEC commissioner. And Joe Grundfest, he is somebody that when you want to have a liaison sort of in between your project and the SEC, Joseph Grundfest is the go-to guy, because not only was he an SEC commissioner, he's also a professor of law at Stanford Law who teaches securities law. He is an advisor to chairman after chairman. He is an unpaid advisor, from what I understand, to Ripple in this action with the SEC. And he stressed unpaid. I think once you read this letter, you'll see that he's sincerely offended by how the SEC has acted. All right. Oh, let me tell you also about Joe Grundfest. Is he connected? Because in the letter that he sent, he makes a comparison to Ether. And a lot of people are going to say, well, oh, see, he's an advisor to Ripple, and so he's biased. No. Joseph Grundfest worked for the Ether investors. Steve Nayeroff, as some of you know, was the attorney who was sort of the architect of the token is going to be used as fuel, right? It's a crypto gas as Ether. That whole construct was used and sold to Joseph Grundfest, who in turn talked to the SEC, and he reported back that the SEC was on board. So when Joseph Grundfest speaks about a comparison between Ether and XRP, it's a lot more meaningful than when John Deaton does it or anyone else, because he helped Ether just as much as he's trying to potentially help XRP. So let's get to the letter, right? You're going to see that this came email from the very first page. Joseph Grundfest sends an email letter on December 17th, 2020, and it's addressed to all 5 commissioners. And it says, Dear Chairman Clayton and commissioners. But I want you to first go to the very back and see who else received a copy of this letter. Now, you don't get the names. We can figure out the names. In a FOIA request, the SEC, they're going to protect individuals' identity. But you'll see that there were 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals in the Division of Corporation and Finance. There were 2 individuals in the Division of Enforcement. There was 2 people that were in the Division of Trading and Markets. And of course, the person that was in charge of the Strategic Hub for Innovation and Financial Technology. So basically, anyone of importance at the SEC received this letter prior to the commencement of this action against Ripple and XRP. Now let's go right to the very first paragraph. Joseph Grundfest says, Dear Chairman Clayton and commissioners, I am informed that the commission's staff is contemplating enforcement proceedings relating to transactions in XRP. Why is that important? You notice Joseph Grundfest didn't say just Ripple. He addressed it to transactions in XRP. And you're going to learn because he's addressing the entire XRP ecosystem, which includes you, and it includes me, and it includes all those independent developers and all the innocent holders of XRP. Now, to my international XRP holders, Joseph Grundfest didn't leave you out. Let's look at the very sentence at the very top of the second page. In a very short sentence, it reads, the implications are international. Basically, he's letting them know this isn't confined to the United States. XRP is used throughout the world. Okay, XRP has been deemed a non-security in the United Kingdom, Singapore, Switzerland, United Arab Emirates, okay, all around the world. So this decision that you're making against XRP is not limited to the confines of the United States of America. Look at the last sentence of the next paragraph. He goes on to say, no pressing reason compels the immediate enforcement action. Prior to this paragraph, he's talking about a new administration coming in. Okay. And what's he saying here? He's saying basically for 7.5 years, XRP has been traded on over 200 exchanges worldwide. For 7.5 years, this has happened. You've done nothing. Okay. Coinbase listed it after coming to you. You've done nothing. And now at the 11th hour, 7.5 years later, you're going to file an enforcement action. There's no reason to do it immediately. Hold back. Let's take our time before we make such a huge decision that implicates XRP around the world, before it destroys innocent holders of XRP. He goes on to say in the very next sentence, the contemplated enforcement proceedings alleges no fraud, no misrepresentation or omission. He's basically saying you're not charging fraud. There's not these innocent people being defrauded. There's not this massive market manipulation scheme and misrepresentation scheme where people's monies are being taken from them. Okay. People are making a voluntary decision, and they have for 7.5 years. And since there is no fraud, there's no reason to rush this lawsuit. Joseph Grundfest says, but simply initiating the action will impose substantial harm on innocent holders of XRP, regardless of the ultimate resolution. Think about that, folks. Joseph Grundfest is saying it doesn't matter what the outcome, whether you file this case and it settles, whether you file this case and there's a verdict and you win or you lose, it doesn't matter. The mere filing of this lawsuit, the way you are framing it, attacking the token itself, is going to devastate innocent people around the world. All this was foreseeable, folks. It's why I filed immediate action 9 days or 8 days after they filed this complaint. It was foreseeable, and Joseph Grundfest let them know. The very next sentence says, upon learning of the proceeding, intermediaries will cease transacting in XRP because of the associated legal risk. What's he saying? He's saying Coinbase is going to delist. Kraken is going to delist. Binance USA is going to delist, okay? Because they don't want to take the risk. If the SEC is successful, they're going to come around and come after them. They're going to take the safe road, and they're going to say, just suspend trading, just delist it. Joseph Grundfest telling them this is about to happen if you do what you're going to do. Given the significance of liquidity to the XRP market, the withdrawal of intermediaries, the exchanges, will most likely cause billions of dollars of losses to innocent third-party holders. The result, to my knowledge, be unprecedented. He goes on to say, I am aware of no instance in which the simple announcement of a commission enforcement proceeding has, absent allegations of fraud, misrepresentation, or omission, caused multi-billion-dollar losses to innocent third parties. You're not alleging fraud. Basically, what he's saying is that if you file this case, it's going to cause more damages to innocent people than any case that's a non-fraud case in the history of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. That's what Joseph Grundfest is saying. And guess what happened? $15 billion was lost. People got wiped out. Notice the term innocent holders of XRP. That means people that don't even know Ripple exists, people who've never heard of Brad Garlinghouse or Chris Larson. That's who he's talking about. And they did not care. The next paragraph, I'm not going to read it in its entirety, but what it basically says is, look, you're about to file the most significant enforcement action in decades. And everybody of significance is leaving. All right? Director of Corporation and Finance, Bill Hinman, leaving. Director of Enforcement, leaving. Director of Trading and Markets, leaving. Jay Clayton, leaving. He's basically saying nobody drops a lawsuit of this magnitude and walks out the door. Somebody sticks around and sees it through, but not in this case. Not in this case. In this case, everyone, as Joseph Grundfest says in this paragraph, everyone that had a role in deciding to bring this action is walking out the door. Mark Berger at Simpson Thacher. Bill Hinman back to Simpson Thacher, unretired. Jay Clayton to One River. Bill Hinman to the largest crypto fund ever for Ether and Bitcoin. As you can see, he says in the last sentence of that paragraph, a mass exodus of every senior staffer responsible for a major enforcement decision with broad policy implications is, to my knowledge, unprecedented in agency history. What's the next line? It raises obvious concerns. This is Joseph Grundfest saying what we've all been saying. There's no rational reason for you to do this. So it raises obvious concerns. What are those obvious concerns? Conflicts of interest, appearances of impropriety, self-dealing. That's what those concerns are. I'm just going to go over one other area. I really wasn't going to go over this area in this letter until something happened. Jay Clayton wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal where he was discussing the national security implications of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies and how the United States must not fall behind and how the SEC needs to adopt a very good regulatory approach. Can you believe it? Can you believe the audacity? All right. But I put out a thread where I reminded Jay Clayton that he was warned about all of those things. Okay. All of those national security concerns. Tom Cotton warned him. Mike Crapo warned him. Those are 2 U.S. senators. Congress warned him. The National Security Advisor, John Radcliffe, he warned him. There was a big article in the Washington Examiner that basically said, you're favoring China. The lack of clarity is causing to stifle American innovation. Okay, but in this letter, Joseph Grundfest on page 3 in the middle, what's he say? He says, national security considerations are also at stake. And he goes on about the letters of the National Security Advisor, the Director of National Intelligence. Look at that. The Director of National Intelligence has also reportedly written to the Commissioner's chair regarding this very issue. All of that was ignored, completely ignored. But now, on December 16th, here we have Jay Clayton writing an op-ed, and he writes, quote, this is a matter of national security and financial stability. Give me a break. Now, I'm not going to go through, except as you can see, we'll pull it up there. That's when he goes into what I call the ether free pass paragraph. And since we've already dealt with that on in many ways, I'm not going to read sentence by sentence, but take your time and read through it, right? It basically says, you've made no material distinction with Ether. If XRP is a security, Ether's a security. If Ether's allowed to be freely traded, XRP must be. That's Joseph Grundfest. That's the guy who helped Ether. That's the guy who's helping Ripple unpaid in this litigation. I will go through the very top of the 3rd page, the very sentence at the top. Joseph Grundfest says, any other result creates a competitive imbalance that cannot be rationalized with reference to fair enforcement of the federal securities laws. What's he saying? He's saying if you do this, you're giving Ether and Bitcoin an unfair advantage. That's what he's saying. And how do we know that that's true? Remember the video? It's on Crypto Law, the video library. Joseph Lubin, not Joseph Grundfest, Joe Lubin. What's he say after he gets the Ether free pass? He says, hey, all other altcoins are going to be spectacularly disadvantaged. Ether has the advantage. Lubin bragged about what Joseph Grundfest was warning. He's bragging about it.
What does this new ruling and this commentary mean for Ethereum going forward? What do you think is going to happen next, other than the massive price spike that we're seeing happening as we speak?
Sure. So the implications for Ether itself are that it can continue to trade freely. You and I can trade it here. It can trade on decentralized exchanges. It can trade on centralized exchanges that are not specifically registered to trade securities. So essentially no disruption.
What do you think is going to happen to Ripple with this new ruling?
I don't know the answer to that. I wasn't able to read through Bill's entire speech, and I wasn't here. I don't know if he spoke about XRPs at all.
He didn't specifically mention anything about it.
So that's interesting.
Ripple.
Ripple?
Overvalued or undervalued?
Oh, I don't want to say anything mean about them.
You don't have to.
Massively overvalued.
Okay. You heard it here, right? Okay.
Watch the video. Okay. I think Joseph Grundfest is absolutely offended. I think he believes in the SEC. And he sees what's happening. He sees how it's being used, and it offends him.